and doing all kinds of cases, or what kind of cases in particular do you do?
Well, Rose, what in my 23 and a half years, as you might imagine, I've done almost every kind of case there is, from child abuse to rape to robbery to burglary to murder to capital murder. My last few years as a first assistant district attorney, I pretty much exclusively did capital murders and murders and helped the younger prosecutors with some of the big cases and stuff. But I've tried every kind of case out there.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you're also familiar with the managing of the district attorney's office, is that right?
Sure. Most people don't even know this, but the district attorney's office is the largest law firm here in Corpus Christi. We have about 40 attorneys and about 25 support staff. So as you might imagine, that being a first assistant district attorney, I was the administrator of that office, which basically did everything from personnel decisions to hiring to all kinds of things, administrating and running that office for Carlos Valdez.
Sounds like you have an awful lot of experience to me, don't you think,
Oh,
Teresa?
definitely.
I want to interject here real quick that Teresa Klein is also the SD 20 committee woman of this district. So those that don't know Teresa Klein, she is very involved with our party, and she does a lot. She's very active on our community political wise. So, and not only that, she's also involved in the Clean Economy Coalition, is that correct? So that's why you see her, I think, she's very conservative, and she puts away her eggshells for the compost, and does all kinds of things to help keep our environment clean, and also, you know, in the best shape it can be. So yes.
And she also seems to know how to make a wicked meringue pie.
Yeah, she does. She does.
Okay, Mark, it looks like you've got enough of that. What we're doing now is we're just kind of waiting for this to come up to the boil. And what will have to happen is we're going to be mixing it with some of the egg yolks. Could you scramble those up just a little bit, Rose?
Sure.
But what we want to do is we want to make sure that we put the egg yolks in a way that they don't turn into scrambled eggs. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be tempering those. I'll just give this a minute here. It's got to go just a little bit further until it starts to boil. And
For those in the audience that don't know what temper means, what is
well,
temper?
it's basically, it's going to make it so that it holds its shape as well, you know, that it doesn't turn into little bits of cooked egg.
Okay.
You can temper chocolate and you can temper eggs and that sort of thing, but okay, we're starting to
good?
get, yeah, that's
Okay.
perfect. We're starting to get a little bit of a boil here, and I don't know whether you can see it or not, but it's starting to thicken up a bit.
Wow.
It's now,
That looks good.
it's not liquid anymore. We've got our sugar all melted. We have all of the thickeners that are working. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this out of the way there. And I'm going to take a couple of spoonfuls, I'll turn this down for a minute here. We're going to take a couple of spoonfuls of this, the hot liquid, and put it in with the eggs and just kind of stir it around.
See.
And that's going to gradually bring the temperature of the egg up to the point at which we can pour it back in with the rest. So I usually do a spoonful or two in there and just start bringing it up, so again, we don't have scrambled eggs.
Wow, that's almost like a formula, almost like being a scientist, right? You have to know just exactly how and when,
Well,
temperature-wise, right?
Those people who are professional cooks, I think there is a lot of science to that.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's kind of coming up to the temperature, and I'm going to pour that then in with this real slowly. And if you could see it from where you're at, you'd see that it is not turning into scrambled eggs, which is
Looks
good. We're
great.
getting into
Very
kind of a
smooth looking.
light color, so we'll get all of that in there.
Mark, have you ever done this before?
No, I'm fascinated because I didn't realize the temperature was so important on that to make it sure it doesn't.
Clump or lump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to get all of that in there, and then what we're going to need next are going to be those parts that you put together. And
Okay.
actually, I have 2 tablespoons of butter. Would you like just to put those in
Sure.
there? Okay, we'll get those in, and they're a little bit cooler, so they're going to melt in.
And then you're going to put my zest in?
We're going to put your zest in.
We're going to make this a
Definitely.
zesty pie.
Zesty pie, and I just take it and just
Awesome.
Put it right in.
That's what
and
gives
there's-
it the twang. huh?
Yeah,
The
just a little bit there.
tart.
That and one little lump that I need to get out of there of the butter. It still has to
Oh.
melt down.
Yeah.
As soon as we get that, then we're going to slowly pour the lemon in there and incorporate that. And we'll take it off the heat. I got it. Adjust that just a little bit. But then that will be the base of the pie. And that's all there is to it.
Mhm. That looks very good. Oh, you can see this, audience. It's very creamy, very smooth, yellow. Let me show the audience again. Very smooth,
Okay.
very creamy looking. Looks great. It looks great.
And again, if you took a little bit more time with this, you can get it even creamier. If you can go at a real low temperature for about 8 minutes, it'll get even creamier. We're going to do it a little higher temperature, a little quicker, but it still should be just fine.
It looks great.
Yeah.
Okay, and now, if you would,
Now I can
just
pour the lemon juice in.
slowly pour that in. I'll move it off the heat.
You got
and-
it, chef.
All right, and we'll get that so we can get in there. And that's probably about enough right there. And I think you have to
Very
kind of
good.
eyeball it too
Yeah.
sometimes and make sure you don't have too much.
That's right.
But now we've got this nice
Smooth.
lemony base.
That looks great.
So what we'll end up doing then is, I'm going to move this aside, our egg whites, because that'll be the next step. I'll take this over.
And so when you
And-
put this in the oven, Teresa, how long do you put it in?
Usually you can follow directions on whatever recipe you have. Sometimes they will have that. This I put in for about 10 minutes. I put some pie, you can either use pie weights or you can use beans in tin foil to hold it down so it doesn't puff
I've
up
never
on you.
heard of that. That sounds
Yeah.
awesome.
Now Rose, if I could have you
Sure.
put that in there,
Okay.
that's our base.
This is great. And you know, I've always tried to compare the ingredients of a recipe to the good ingredients of a campaign. And so I know that you're putting all your ingredients, your good ingredients, into your campaign, Mark. You're doing a lot of block walking,
Yes, that's right.
a lot of phone banking, and your family is helping you.
My wife and daughter have been great being on my side to go appear at some of these events that we go to, shaking hands and visiting with folks. And that's probably the biggest ingredient you have in the campaign is folks, just regular folks that are potential voters out there. We want to get everybody out to vote and of course put the candidate's message out. I've been blessed to have my family helping me and some very good Democrats helping me get my message out to the people for this campaign.
I imagine you have. Everybody out there is talking about what a wonderful job you're doing, and so that's great. Just keep up the good work. I really think you're going to do it absolutely wonderful.
All right, so we've got the base. Now we need to get the meringue.
Okay.
Now the meringue is actually, some people are a little afraid of doing meringue, but it's not that difficult. All you need to do is to take your egg whites that you already had separated out, and I'm going to just pour them into my mixer there.
That's a nice mixer, by the way.
Yes, it is. Christmas,
Yeah.
I was
Christmas
very
present.
good. It was a very good Christmas present.
You're a good girl. Very good.
Yeah, I have half a teaspoon of vanilla,
Uh-huh.
and I have a quarter of a teaspoon of cream of tartar. And cream of tartar is what you need to have in it to make this hold together.
Okay.
Now we're going to turn this on for a little bit, and it's going to get a little bit loud.
Okay, right now we're going to go ahead and take a break. We're going to do the meringue, and as soon as we'll come back, we'll be right back. Okay, we're back. And Teresa, this turned out to be a really pretty meringue. I need
Oh,
to show
yeah.
that to the audience. Look at that.
When we cut away, we put in 6 tablespoons of sugar slowly. You add it slowly to the whole meringue, and now what we want to do is you want to put all of this, and I know
Wow.
this looks like a lot,
That looks pretty.
onto the pie. And what we're going to do is seal the edges with that, because when you bake this, oh boy, that's a lot. When you bake this, it is actually going to shrink a little bit, and so when you seal it on the edges, that's when it does really well. It'll hold together. So
It's a really pretty meringue.
we're just going to push that all around and try to, we get a little bit of the lemon there, but that's okay. It's very forgiving. And this is where you can start playing with your food
Ah,
and making designs in it and everything, and make sure you get
Peaks.
some good peaks. And I always just try to
Well, that's a
take
mountain
this
of
in.
meringue.
It is.
That
It
looks
is.
pretty,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, once you have it all looking nice and the way you want to have it look, then we need to put it in the oven at 350 for about 12 to 15 minutes. So if you would open that up,
Okay.
I'll go ahead and
Here we
put it
go.
in the oven. And so I don't burn my fingers, actually, I'm
Okay.
going to grab
Oh, good.
some of these. We have a pie that I was baking while we were making this other one.
Oh,
Oh.
beautiful.
That's what it'll
That
turn
is
out.
awesome. That is a beautiful lemon meringue pie. So Mark, I understand your family's going to be joining us.
That's right. My wife and daughter will be here soon. They were been phone banking at the Democratic headquarters all morning.
Awesome. That must be them.